It's Sunday afternoon. Your phone lights up. Mum's calling. You already know what it's about. She wants to know why you're not coming to dinner. Again. You've explained your schedule. You've explained your priorities. You've explained that you need space. But none of it matters, because every time you set a boundary, she acts like you're attacking her. The guilt trip starts. The subtle comments. The "I guess I'm just a burden" routine. And now you're standing here, phone in hand, feeling like a piece of shit for wanting to live your own life. Most guys give in. They show up. They apologize. They explain themselves for the 100th time, and inside they're suffocating. Or they snap. They cut contact. They build walls instead of boundaries. And then they feel guilty about that too. Either way, you lose. That feeling you're sitting with right now? It's not because you're selfish. It's not because family doesn't matter. It's because you're trying to control something that isn't up to you, and nobody ever taught you how to hold a boundary without becoming the villain. And in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you how to change that. Here's what we're doing today. I'm going to walk you through the Stoic framework for setting boundaries with family, without losing your integrity, without becoming cold, and without needing their permission to live your life. This isn't about cutting people off. It's not about being an asshole. It's about developing the kind of inner authority that doesn't require validation, doesn't need approval, and doesn't collapse under emotional pressure. This isn't philosophy for the sake of sounding smart. This is an operating system, a way to process family dynamics that makes you harder to manipulate, harder to guilt, and harder to break. Because here's the truth, most men your age are still operating like children around their families, not because they're weak, because they never learned that respect without boundaries isn't respect. It's dependence. They're reactive. They explain, they defend, they negotiate their right to exist as adults, and their families keep treating them like projects to fix or children to manage. You don't have to be one of them. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to respond the next time your family crosses a line, makes a demand, or lays on the guilt. Not in theory, in practice. But first we need to talk about the mistake almost everyone makes. Here's the mistake most guys make when family conflict happens. You think the problem is that they don't understand you. So you explain, you justify, you walk them through your reasoning, you try to make them see your perspective. And the more you do it, the weaker you look. Because you're asking for permission, you're negotiating, you're acting like your choices need their approval to be valid. The Stoics saw through this 2,000 years ago. They had a principle. Some things are up to you. Some things are not up to you. And the moment you try to control what you can't, you lose your peace. You lose your power. Here's what that means in plain English. Your actions, your decisions, your boundaries, your character, those are up to you. Whether your family agrees with them, approves of them, likes them, or understands them, that's not up to you. You can influence it, you can communicate clearly, but you cannot control their reaction. And every time you try, you hand them your power. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man in the Roman Empire. He had armies, wealth, and absolute authority. And every single night he sat down and reminded himself, you don't control what other people think. You don't control outcomes. You control your response. That's it. Epictetus was a slave. He had nothing, no power, no freedom. And he said the same thing. Some things are up to us, some things are not. Focus only on what's up to you. Two men, opposite lives, same truth. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Are you trying to control whether your family respects your boundaries? Are you trying to control whether they feel good about your choices? Are you trying to control their emotional reaction to you living your life? Because if you are, that's why this feels impossible. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. I'm going to break down 4 core lessons. Each one comes with a real scenario and a Stoic move you can use today. First principle. Boundaries without guilt are not cruelty. They're self-respect. Let's say your dad calls. He wants help moving furniture this Saturday. You already have plans. You've been working 6 days straight. This Saturday is the one day you have to recover. You need it. You say, I can't this weekend, but I can help next Saturday. And here's what he says. You're always too busy for family. I guess your friends matter more than your own father. Now you're in it. The guilt is immediate. You start questioning yourself. Am I being selfish? Should I just cancel my plans? It's just one day. Maybe I'm a bad son. Most guys do one of two things here. One, they cave. They cancel their plans. They show up exhausted and resentful. And now Dad knows. All he has to do is guilt you and you fold. Two, they get defensive. They explain why they're busy. They justify their plans. They try to prove they're not selfish. And now they look weak, like they need his approval. Both are losing moves. Here's why. Both are attempts to control his reaction. You're trying to make him okay with your boundary. You're trying to manage his feelings. You're trying to get him to approve. A Stoic does something different. He asks one question. What's actually in my control here? And the answer is simple. Your decision, your tone, your clarity. So here's the move. Step 1. You don't defend. You don't explain why you're busy. You state your boundary clearly. I can't this Saturday. I can help next Saturday. That's it. No apology, no justification, just fact. Step 2. When the guilt trip comes, you acknowledge it without absorbing it. I hear that you're disappointed, and I'm still not available this Saturday. You're not arguing, you're not defending, you're repeating the boundary. Step 3. You let him sit with his disappointment. You don't try to fix it. You don't try to make him feel better. His feelings are not your responsibility. Your integrity is. Here's why it works. Because you didn't hand him your power. You didn't need his approval. You didn't collapse under pressure. And here's the paradox. That restraint, that calm, that refusal to be manipulated, it actually earns more respect than explaining ever could. Second principle. You can love someone and still refuse to be controlled by them. Here's the scenario. Your mom calls. She's upset. Your brother is going through something and she thinks you need to reach out to him. You and your brother have a complicated relationship. He burned you twice in the past year. You've set a boundary. You're cordial, but you're not playing therapist anymore. She doesn't care about that. She says, family is supposed to be there for each other. He needs you right now. I don't understand why you're being so cold. Now you're pissed, not just at her, at the whole dynamic. You're being called cold for refusing to light yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. And she's acting like your boundary is the problem, not your brother's pattern of behavior. Most guys make one of two mistakes. 1. They give in. They reach out to the brother. They ignore their own boundary because mom is upset, and now they've taught her, my feelings override your boundaries. 2. They explode. They list everything the brother did. They defend their decision. They try to make her see how unreasonable she's being. And now it's a fight. Now they're the bad guy. Here's what a Stoic does. Step 1. He separates love from compliance. You can love your mom and still refuse her demand. Those are not the same thing. Love does not mean obedience. So you say this, I understand you're worried about him, and I'm not changing my boundary. Step 2. He applies the dichotomy of control. He can't control whether she understands. He can't control whether she agrees. He can't control whether she's upset. He can control his standard. So he holds it. Step 3. He doesn't argue. He doesn't list his brother's mistakes. He doesn't try to win the debate. He just repeats the boundary. I've made my decision. I'm not discussing it further. Here's why it works. Because you're not trying to control her emotions. You're not trying to make her see your side. You're just being unmoved. And that's strength. Not coldness. Strength. You're saying, I love you, and I'm not negotiating my boundary. Third principle. Explaining yourself repeatedly is training them to not take you seriously. Let's talk about the cycle most guys are stuck in. Your family makes a demand. You say no. They push back. You explain. They push harder. You explain again. You give more reasons. You defend your position, and now they know. If they just keep pushing, you'll eventually give them what they want, or you'll at least waste your energy defending yourself. Here's the scenario. You're dating someone your family doesn't approve of. Maybe she's not their religion. Maybe she's from a different background. Maybe they just don't like her. They bring it up every time you see them. They ask when you're going to end it. They make subtle comments. They act like your relationship is a phase you'll grow out of. At first you defended her. You explained why she's great. You listed her qualities. You tried to win them over. But nothing changed. They just kept pushing. And now you're exhausted. You don't even want to visit because you know it's coming. Most guys keep explaining. They think if they just say it the right way, their family will get it. They won't. Because this isn't about logic, it's about control. They're testing whether you'll prioritize their approval over your own judgment. Here's the Stoic move. Step 1. You stop explaining. You said your piece once. That's enough. The next time it comes up, you don't defend, you don't justify, you don't list her qualities. You say, I've already told you how I feel about this. I'm not discussing it again. Step 2. When they push, you enforce the boundary. If you bring this up again, I'm leaving. Not as a threat, as information. This is what will happen if you cross this line. Step 3. You follow through. If they bring it up again, you leave. No argument, no debate, no dramatic exit. You just go. You've taught them. This boundary is real. It's not negotiable. Here's why it works. Because you're no longer operating in their frame. You're not trying to convince them. You're not trying to win their approval. You're just being consistency. And consistency is what creates respect, not explanations. Fourth principle, silence is more powerful than defense. Here's the scenario. You're at a family gathering. Your uncle asks what you're doing with your life. You tell him about your job, your goals, your plans. He doesn't like it. He thinks you should be doing something else, making more money, getting a different degree, settling down faster. He starts giving unsolicited advice, telling you what you should do, acting like your choices are mistakes. You feel the heat rising. You want to defend yourself. You want to explain your reasoning. You want to prove that you're not making a mistake. But here's the truth. He's not actually interested in your reasoning. He's asserting dominance. He's positioning himself as the authority. And the moment you engage, you've accepted his frame. Most guys argue. They defend their choices. They list their reasons. They try to prove they're making the right call. And now they look insecure, like they need his validation. Here's what a Stoic does. Step 1. He doesn't engage. He lets the uncle talk. He doesn't argue. He doesn't defend. He just lets it wash over him. Because someone else's opinion of your life is not your problem. Step 2. He responds with silence or a neutral acknowledgement. I hear you, or that's one perspective, not agreement. Not disagreement, just acknowledgement. And then he moves on, changes the subject, walks away, talks to someone else. Step 3. He doesn't give the uncle power by reacting, because reaction is submission. It's saying, your opinion matters enough to me that I need to defend against it. Silence says, I'm solid. I don't need your approval. Here's why it works. Because you didn't hand him your frame. You didn't validate his authority over your life. You just let him talk and moved on. And that restraint, that refusal to be pulled into the game, that's what makes people respect you, not the explanations. All right, knowledge is useless without practice. So here's your drill. This separates the guys who watch Stoic content from the guys who become Stoic. I call it the boundary audit. Here's exactly how it works. I'm going to give you the full breakdown. Step 1. 3 to 5 minutes. Grab a notebook or your phone. Open a blank note. At the top, write today's date and this question. Where am I negotiating boundaries I've already set? Step 2. 5 to 7 minutes. Write down 3 family situations from the past month where you felt pressured, guilty, or like you had to defend yourself. Just the facts, 1 sentence per situation. No interpretation yet. For example, Mom asked me to skip my gym session to run an errand. Dad criticized my career choice at dinner. Sister expected me to drop everything to help her move. Step 3. 3 to 5 minutes. For each situation, answer this question. Did I hold my boundary or did I fold? Be honest. If you caved, write caved. If you held it but felt like shit, write held but guilty. If you explained yourself 10 times, write over-explained. Step 4. 5 minutes. For each situation, rewrite it using the Stoic framework. Apply the dichotomy of control. What was actually in your control? Your decision, your tone, your follow-through. What wasn't in your control? Their reaction, their approval, their feelings about it. Then identify the Stoic move. What should you have done? State the boundary clearly. Refuse to defend. Let them sit with their disappointment. Enforce the consequence if they pushed. Step 5. 2 minutes. Pick one of those 3 situations. If it's still unresolved, decide what you're going to do about it. If a similar situation happens again, decide how you'll respond differently. Write it down. Be specific. Next time Mom guilts me about skipping family dinner, I will say this: I understand you're disappointed. I'm still not coming. Then I will end the call. Step 6. 2 minutes. At the bottom of your note, write this. Stoic move completed this week, yes or no. If yes, write 1 word describing how you felt after. If no, write why and commit to doing it this week. This takes about 15 to 20 minutes start to finish. Do it tonight. Don't wait. Don't think about it. Just do it. And when you finish, come back to this video and drop 1 word in the comments. Done. That's it. No explanation, just proof. Because this isn't therapy, it's training. You're not trying to fix your family, you're training your mind to process family dynamics like a Stoic. And the more you do this, the more automatic it becomes. Let's bring this home. Look, I get it. Your family pushing your boundaries doesn't just disappear because you watched a 15-minute video. The guilt trips still happen. The manipulation still stings. The expectation that you should just comply because that's what family does doesn't go away overnight. This isn't about making family dynamics easier. It's about making you stronger. The Stoics understood something most men today have forgotten. You are not your circumstances. You are your response to your circumstances. You don't control whether your family respects your boundaries, but you control whether you need their respect to hold your boundaries. You don't control whether they guilt you, but you control whether the guilt makes you fold. You don't control whether they understand your choices, but you control whether you live according to your standards anyway. Boundaries without guilt are not cruelty, they're self-respect. And self-respect is not up for negotiation. It's not something you earn by making everyone else comfortable. It's something you claim by refusing to abandon yourself every time someone else is disappointed. Marcus Aurelius ruled the world, and every morning he had to remind himself, you don't control other people, you don't control outcomes, you control outcomes. You control yourself. If the Emperor of Rome needed the reminder, so do you. So here's what happens next. You do the exercise. You don't just watch this and move on. You take 15 minutes tonight and you do the work. Because information without action is just entertainment. And you didn't come here to be entertained. You came here to get better. When you finish the exercise, come back and drop 1 word. The Stoic concept you're using this week. Just 1. I want to see it. Do the drill. Prove you're serious. I'll see you in the comments or I won't. Either way, your call. Stay solid. I'll see you in the next one.